If I had $1 for every time someone repeated these paint rules like gospel, I'd have enough money to repaint your whole house. Thrice. These so-called design truths, they're not just outdated, they're making your home look even worse. It's time to call them out. I'm James, and I spend a lot of time working with color in real homes with real people. Not every paint trend, shortcut, or expert tip holds up in the real world. So, in this video, I'm laying out the design lies that need to stop, especially when it comes to paint. Let's cut through the fluff, trim the fat, and talk about what actually works. Myth 1, white paint makes every room brighter. This is probably the most repeated paint myth and the most misunderstood. Yes, white reflects light really well, but what if your room doesn't have light to reflect? That's the question. In a dim basement, a hallway, or a north-facing room, bright whites like Benjamin Moore's Chantilly lace, which I know a lot of you like, or even ultra white, they can end up looking cold and just plain sad. Instead of brightening, white paint in these spaces can actually make the room feel flat and dingy. So if you want a space to feel lighter and more inviting, go with an off-white or a warm neutral. Think paint colors like White Dove, Classic Gray, or even Balboa Mist. These colors have a bit more depth and warmth to hold their own even in low light spaces. Number 2, all trim should be pure white. If you're painting trim by default with the brightest white you can find, you're really missing a huge opportunity. Pure whites can look great if the surrounding colors support them, but often, especially next to warmer walls or earthy tones, they create too much contrast and end up feeling very disconnected from the rest of the space. Trim colors are not one size fits all. Warmer spaces tend to need warmer whites, like Benjamin Moore's Cloud White or Simply White, for instance. Cooler spaces, maybe go with Super White or even Distant Gray. Matching undertones is key. Otherwise, your trim sticks out like a sore thumb, and not in a good way. Since when are sore thumbs good? I don't know. Number 3, gray is a timeless neutral. Let's be honest, we've done gray to death. And cool grays specifically, like Stonington Gray or Cement Gray, they used to be everywhere, but today they feel very lifeless and honestly a little depressing. This myth sticks around because gray technically is flexible, but the cold, sterile versions have lost their charm completely. Instead, you can still use grayish tones or warmer grays with more depth, like Benjamin Moore's Silver Satin or even Revere Pewter, actually. Yes, when you use it well, it's far more livable and current than those cooler grays. To me, gray is not dead, but the wrong kind of gray should be. Number 4, dark colors make rooms feel smaller. False. Absolutely not true. Dark colors don't shrink a room, they shape it. A deep wall color like Benjamin Moore's Regent Green or Midsummer Night adds contrast, depth, and mood. It can create intimacy in a bedroom, make a hallway feel architectural, or add drama to a powder room. And the key here is balance. Use lighter elements like perhaps ceilings or trim or even your floors to offset the darkness and guide the eye. Depth and contrast are tools. Do not fear them. And also, dark colors just flat out make a space feel bigger. They absorb light, which means they draw your eye towards them rather than being reflected back at you. Dark colors are great. Oh, this is a nice one. White cabinets are timeless. Number 5. This one's going to tick some people off, I get it, but let's be honest. White kitchen cabinets have been the default for decades. They're safe, they're clean, and yes, they work with almost everything, but does that mean they're truly timeless? Not necessarily. White cabinets can look amazing, but only when they're the right white in the right space. Stark whites like Chantilly lace can feel too stark when used inside, and creamy whites like Simply White or Swiss Coffee can go yellow really fast, especially under warmer lighting. And maintenance? Every speck of dust, splash of sauce, or sticky fingerprint, no matter how big or small they are, They show up front and center on white cabinets. If you want timeless, don't default to white. Consider off-whites and warm grays, soft taupes, colors like natural cream or even pashmina or stone hearth. These still feel classic to me, but they add more depth and visual interest than just plain old flat white. Number 6, you can just pick a color from a paint swatch. Picking paint from a 2-inch piece of card is like picking a life partner from a dating profile photo. It doesn't show you how the color will behave in your space with your lighting and your furniture. Natural light, artificial light, surrounding materials, and even your flooring will all change how a color looks. And if you're not testing colors on the wall before committing, you're playing a dangerous game. Whether you're using a sample pot or my favorite, a peel and stick sample, super easy, test the color out every time. No questions asked, please. I cannot tell you how many times I get questions about certain colors, and then whenever I ask, did you test them out? 9 times out of 10, no. Just tell me which color, James. Design advice isn't one size fits all. As much as I try and give you answers, the thing is, just because something's been said a million times doesn't really make it true. Paint smarter, not louder. And if you want to know which colors I've completely stopped recommending this year, I've got a video on that too. I think it's a must watch.